38-year-old carpenter Anthony Downs is suing former neighbors, 45-year-old waitress Paula Nagel and her friend, 37-year-old homemaker Connie Barnett. Anthony says their children vandalized his car. Paula and Connie are countersuing for harassment.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 186 on the calendar, in the matter of Downs versus Nagel Barnett.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, huh?
First, let me advise all of you that I have no intention of going back historically into the ongoing allegations of harassment, restraining orders, etc., that exists between you two people. And I'm going to start on a particular day. And that day is back in February of 2001, when I understand from reading your complaint that all of you appeared in court. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And on that day in February, you all seem to have come to some sort of at least a temporary resolution of this ongoing harassment that each of you claimed that the other is causing you. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct.
Yes.
So you're in court. You received a restraining order against him?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a restraining order at that time against them?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. Everybody's shaking hands saying, we hope this whole thing will go away. And then you exit the courthouse. Is that right?
No, I didn't know, ma'am. I did not leave the courthouse yet.
Your car was parked in the parking lot.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to you, you saw the defendant's sons doing something to your car.
No, ma'am, I did not see him until after I was told that they were doing damage to my car.
Who saw it?
My son.
Step up here. Tell me your name.
Michael.
Michael. Your dad is in court. You went outside to wait for him?
No, I was in the lobby where we were getting ready to get the papers, and as I looked around the corner, because I was seeing if the car was okay, the next thing you know, I saw them. They were sitting there kicking the bumper.
Who was?
Jared, Jevin, and Tyler.
These three boys?
Yes, ma'am.
All three boys?
Yes, ma'am.
Was your car parked there as well?
Yes, ma'am.
How far away from where your car was parked was the plaintiff's car parked?
Okay, the plaintiff's car was parked like in the third parking space on the front of the median. My car was on the back side, about 3 cars down.
So, a good distance away from his car?
Correct.
Step up here, all three of you. Names?
Jared Barnett. Tyler Nagel.
Jevin Barnett.
Now, I've read the answer here, and the answer says that you guys were just playing around air karate kicking. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Shh.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Why were you air karate kicking around his car?
Because we were mad because he got away with throwing a softball at my friend Tyler.
So you were mad?
Yes, ma'am.
And you left court, and you went out and found his car. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And he says you damaged the car.
I didn't.
You didn't. What about you?
I wasn't even near it.
Where were you?
About 5 feet away from me.
You were 5 feet away. You were there.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you air karate kicking the car too?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know that they were doing that?
No.
You have photographs of the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were your parents when you were kicking this car?
They were just leaving.
Were
we
they
came
inside
out.
the courthouse when you went outside?
Yes, ma'am.
You went outside first.
Yes, ma'am. We were going to the car. We were going to our car.
Which car?
I was going to my car.
But you weren't going to your car.
Yes, I was. It was
Well,
on
what
the
did you
way.
stop at his car for?
We got mad, and so we just started to pretend.
When did you get mad? Between the courthouse door and the time you got to his car, tell me approximately when you got mad.
I was mad.
Inside the courthouse.
Yes, ma'am.
So you didn't just get mad, you were mad before you left the courthouse.
Yes, ma'am.
And what about you? Were you mad or you just following?
I was mad too, ma'am.
What were you mad at?
For him getting away,
Getting away with doing what?
throwing a softball at me, ma'am.
And is that what this case was about that you were in court about?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you hurt when the softball hit you?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did the softball hit you?
On my bottom lower lip on the left.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a scar.
And what happened? Did the judge dismiss that case?
Yes.
So your sons were angry.
Yes.
You subsequently got a restraining order against them in
I had,
March.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So that then there are now mutual restraining orders.
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
Okay.
Ma'am. My attorney's paralegal. I have an affidavit from her saying that she was there and
No. I only take witnesses, not affidavits.
Well, she could not be here today because she was at a case with my attorney.
That's not my problem. That's your problem. I don't take affidavits. But I believe your son, and I don't believe the fact that they were angry and they just went outside and air karate kicked it, and as a result of something else, your car got damaged. Car looks like a relatively new car. Is it a new car?
Yes, ma'am. It's a 2000 Buick Regal.
Yeah, and you get absolutely no satisfaction air karate kicking a car. You get satisfaction when you actually kick it, right, Bird?
That's right.
That's right.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Anthony Downs says 11-year-old Tyler Nagel, 11-year-old Jared Barnett, and 13-year-old Jevin Barnett vandalized his car. The children deny the charge.
So how much did it cost you to fix the car, sir? I have a lot of different bills here. Is it $500? Or
That was what we had to pay at the end. Yes, ma'am.
was your deductible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so now we come to March 8th. You have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim says that he violated the restraining order, and that's the only thing that I'm going to hear. Somebody want to tell me about it?
We do not deny that the boys were in a place where they should not have been, but we are denying all the allegations.
Good, and I find that they kicked his car. I find that based upon several things. Quiet and listen. Okay. I don't believe them that they never came into contact with the car with their shoes or their feet. I believe that they were angry because little brother over here got hit with a ball. They felt it was his fault. Judge dismissed the case. They went outside, and little boys don't get any satisfaction air karateing a car. They get satisfaction if they actually come into contact with the car. And unless the air karate kick fairy did this damage to the car, somebody did it. So I find that they did it. Now let's move to your counterclaim, madam, which is the only thing I'm going to hear right now. Got a restraining order. You say that there was continual harassment after that.
After we filed the restraining order,
How are you related to this case?
he's suing me too because those are my children.
Which children?
This one and this one.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I was coming home from picking up my son Jared from the roller rink, and I pushed the button to open up my garage door, and he was coming from the side of my yard, down my driveway, and in front of me.
Yes.
So I called her husband because my husband was gone, and he came over, and then we called the police.
And what happened?
They went over there and talked to him, and he said that he was in bed sleeping at the time, and that there was nothing we could do because there wasn't a third party involved.
So you saw him walk from the side of your house.
Yeah,
What's
well,
next?
he was running, ma'am.
Running. What's next?
I have pictures where he was on 3 different occasions taking his children to school. I have pictures of him driving by the house where he could have taken 3 to 4 other routes, which were shorter than the one he took, but I feel he took these just to make himself known that he was there.
So he drove his children to school and he could have taken a different route and avoided going on your street. Is that what you're saying? It's
3 or
not
4
harassment.
different
What's
routes.
next? Anything else?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to hear you.
I still have 2 court documents stating that there was no damage to the car.
Listen carefully to me. I find that there was damage to the car as a result of your boys kicking the car. They practically confessed. The only thing they didn't confess to was that their feet, when they were doing the karate kicks, actually came in contact with the car. I don't have to repeat it to you 20 times. They were seen doing karate kicks to the car, and there's damage to a brand new car. Should have watched them more carefully.
Ma'am.
Your counterclaim's dismissed for harassment. Listen to me. The matter was resolved as of February 16th. The only thing that I'm entertaining is the damage to your car. Listen to me very carefully. That cost you $500, right?
And a car rental.
I don't care about
We had
the
to,
car
we had to
rental.
rent a car because it was getting fixed.
Do you think that I believe that when there is an ongoing problem with harassment between 2 families, listen to me very carefully. You're not receiving. When there is ongoing problems with 2 families, like there is with these 2 families involving children, that all the adults aren't a little at fault? I believe that they're all a little at fault. The adults. All the adults.
Can I say something? The day that the restraining order took place is the day that, before this court date, they said I did this to her house.
I'm dismissing her counterclaim for harassment, sir. You have to understand that. If you listened instead of
Okay.
had your own thing going on in your head, you would understand that. I don't find driving down a street or coming from the side of her house harassment. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you're in a receiving mode. So being in a receiving mode, I'm telling you, sir, that I believe that when there is an ongoing pattern that requires police, prosecutors, detectives, court personnel to waste their time to deal with childish behavior and adults are involved, you don't get your car rental. You got it?
But I didn't do the
But
damage.
you do get your out-of-pocket expenses for them kicking your car, which they did. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They had beaten Michael up several times.
He was found guilty of assault battery against my son, Jared.
They had me down, so I was kicking, punching, trying to get my way out of the fight.
The father should have just broke it up, had boys shaking their hands, and go on with life.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Kettleson versus Kettleson. Step forward, please.
28-year-old cashier Jennifer Kettleson is suing her brother, 25-year-old welder Nathaniel Kettleson, for unpaid loans, the return of her belongings, and damages from an assault. Nathaniel is countersuing for storage fees.
Ms. Kettleson, the defendant is your brother. I've read your papers, your complaint, and your answer. Nowhere in the complaint or the answer do I see the need for any child witnesses, so I'm going to have her take this child outside.
Come on, buddy.
All right. According to what I've read, you were living in Alaska with your children. Things weren't going well there. You spoke with your brother. Your brother offered to open his house to you if you wanted to relocate from Alaska to Montana, where he lived with his family. You sold some stuff, packed up the rest, and moved in with your brother. Things did not work out. You got into a major brouhaha with him, either a week or two later. According to you, he kicked you out of the house.
Right.
You want him to pay for the following: $500, which is what you say it cost you for a motel to stay with your family. $1,400, which is the amount that you say you had to borrow for airline tickets because someone else said that you could come to stay with them in New York. A couple of $1,000 for your aggravation. In addition, you claim that he had borrowed some money from you.
That's correct.
Several $100s, and he didn't pay you back all of the money, right?
Correct.
Mr. Kettleson, your brother, has a counterclaim. His counterclaim is you left, and you left a whole bunch of your stuff there, and then he and his family were relocating. Because he was a nice guy, he took your stuff with him when he relocated, and the van wasn't big enough to hold his stuff, so he had to put his stuff in storage, and he wants you to pay for the storage for his stuff because he took better care of your stuff, right?
That's correct.
Are you all nuts or what? Ms. Kettleson, if you go and live with somebody, a member of your family, and things don't work out, you believe that there's a contract, and the contract existed between you and your brother to provide a home for you and your children, even if the situation became intolerable? And that's why you believe he's responsible for this $1,900 in expenses you had to move out of his house?
Your Honor, he called me up and he said that we can come down and stay with him. And he seemed very, very polite about it and everything. And he had to convince me to come down.
You're a big adult. Do you think if a living arrangement doesn't work out with a relative, you're entitled to further relocation expenses?
Yes, I do.
Wrong. I don't have to hear anymore. Forget it. That doesn't happen. And your aggravation as a result of that also doesn't happen. You take your chances. You move from Alaska, where you weren't doing well, to Montana in the hopes that you would do better. Didn't work out, so you moved on. That's not a lawsuit. That's called unfortunate.
Your Honor, he said that he would be sending my stuff to me. I have a letter from him about that, and...
Okay, so he has some of your belongings.
Right.
Fine, let's talk about the loans first. We'll talk about the belongings second. Loans, when did you lend him money?
I lent him money on October 10th, or 18th.
How much?
$300.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Did you pay her back?
I paid 200 of that back.
You have any proof of that?
No.
She says you
other
paid
than
back
testimony.
$150.
Yes.
Wasn't expecting it to go this far.
Okay. What was the next loan? When was that?
October 18th.
What were the circumstances surrounding that loan?
He brought his daughter over so I can watch her and while he went somewhere, and he asked me for $100.
Is that right?
I believe so, yes.
This
Did
is
you
at
give her
the
back that
hotel.
money?
No, I did not.
Fine. So you owe her $250. That's easy. What else?
It says right here, I will get my taxes back in about 2 weeks. It should be enough to mail your stuff. What do you want me to do with the stuff that you left with Maurice? Don't worry, I am going to send all that you left there.
What kind of stuff do you have?
My computer, my belongings, my
Don't take my belongings. Your
Anything and
computer.
Okay, my computer, our baby books.
There's no baby books.
Yes, there is. My kids' clothes. I have a leather jacket in there. Picture frames, beanie babies, sleeping bags, all sorts of things.
Okay. Did you send him any money to send you back that stuff?
No, he was supposed to send it with the money that he owes me.
Well, that's fine. You have all that stuff? It's
Oh,
all
yeah.
packed
Oh,
up?
yes.
And you owe her $250. Do you
Yes.
think it'll cost more than $250 to send it?
Far more.
How much?
It was $174 a box. She wants it insured and priority mail and everything else with it. It was basically going to round off to about $200 a box to mail
Your
her stuff.
Honor, when I
Just a minute. How many boxes of stuff do you think you have?
2 boxes, about 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet, stuffed full.
And how much do you think that that's going to cost?
About $200 a box to mail it.
So about $400.
About $400 total to mail it.
Do you want to spend that?
No, I went to the post office in Montana and I asked them how much it is, and they said $50 for 70 pounds.
Well, I'm not going to guess how much it is to mail all your stuff back. He's not responsible to you to mail all your stuff back.
He said right here that he will. So he's not responsible.
No, he's not responsible for paying for it. It's your stuff. You left it there.
He owes me the money. He was
Fine, you're not, Miss Kittleson. He owes you $250. What if it costs $500 to mail back your stuff?
It doesn't. I went to the post office and it costs $50 for 70 pounds. I made sure that those 2 boxes were less than 70 pounds.
How did you make sure of that?
Because I know how much I brought down in those boxes.
Miss Kittleson, you're going to have to make arrangements for payments. The stuff is all boxed. He's prepared to turn it over to you. You have to make arrangements to get it. That's your job. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Good. In the meantime, he's going to give you the $250 that he owes you, and that may help to defray some of your costs.
He should also pay for the tickets, at least
I
from
don't believe so.
Montana to New York.
Oh, he's not paying for that at all. I just explained that to you.
Okay, then the hotel and stuff.
He's not paying for that either.
He should
Salvation
have
Army
to
and my
because
wife's
it was
boss paid
his
for this
fault that
hotel.
I had to leave. He said, come on down here and stay with me. You can stay with me until you get settled. And then he
And then
grabs
there
me
was
by-
a fight.
Yes. And he
And
grabbed-
it didn't work out. So you left. And evidently you left not under terrible circumstances.
Oh, yes, it was.
Well, you said the next day you were babysitting for his daughter.
2 days later.
2 days later, you were
that's
babysitting
his-
for his daughter,
his
which is when you gave him
his
Miss
daughter.
Kettleson, get over it. He doesn't pay for your airfare. He doesn't pay for your hotel. He pays you the money that he owes you, which is $250, and you make arrangements to get your stuff, which is boxed, period.
I have to pay $1,349 because for my airfare ticket from Montana to New York because of the way he was to me.
No, no, no.
Same
Yes.
No, Miss Kettleson.
$1,349 she
No,
could have rented a
shh.
place to live in Montana.
Miss Kettleson, what if you decided to relocate to Paris? And the airfare to Paris is $5,000. You think you should pay $5,000?
If that's the case.
Bye. You count the suits likewise dismissed. It's nonsense.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Business owners Diana Irwin and her husband Stephen are suing former friends, 19-year-old T.J. Cuddy and 24-year-old Rick Large. The Irwins say they hired the defendants to look after their house, and instead, they threw a party. T.J. has a separate lawsuit against the Irwins for the return of a down payment on a bike.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 572 and 560. One is Irwin versus Cuddy Large, and the other one is a cross complaint, Cuddy versus Irwin. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. and Mrs. Irwin, I'm going to address your claim first, and then I will address the claim by one of the defendants, Mr. Cuddy. According to your complaint, you hired these 2 young men to do some work in your house while you were gone on some sort of vacation or business trip. And they were given a whole list of things to do. They had access to your home. And it is your claim that they threw a major party while they were there, and that as a result of that, your home was invaded by a large group of people, that some things were destroyed or damaged, and a substantial amount of money stolen. And you're suing both of these young men for $5,000.
Correct.
The defendant said it was no big deal party, just a few friends, nobody went into the house. And Mr. Cuddy has a cross complaint, which I will get to in a moment. Who's Mr. Cuddy?
Would be me. Your
That's
Honor.
you. All right, how did you know these 2 young men?
Rick Large had worked for us, done some work for our business for about a year,
What kind of business?
a computer business. And Mr. Cuddy, my husband had known him for probably about 12 years, and I'd known him about 6 years. And he was also a neighbor of ours.
And you gave both these young men access to your home.
Actually, Rick Large was the one that was hired to come in and feed the dogs, check emails, pick up mail, pick up the newspaper, and do a few chores around the house, and we paid him $300 for the week to do that.
You only paid Mr. Large.
Correct.
Okay, were they supposed to stay in the house?
No.
Okay, and what did you find when you came home?
When we first they came to pick us up at the airport, and they were supposed to come in our truck, but they came in Mr. Cuddy's mother's truck because they said they couldn't find the keys to the vehicle, which also has our home key on it and speed pass. When we got home, we gave them T-shirts we'd bought for them, and they left, and we were home for a few minutes, and our doorbell rang. And our neighbor came over and was very upset and said that while we were
Can't tell
gone,
me what your neighbor said.
Oh, okay. Well, we started looking around and noticed things that were moved, found a disc jockey card on my table in my family room, found broken beer bottle and beer still on the floor in the family room.
A broken beer bottle?
Mm-hmm. We went to open our garbage compactor, and it was jammed. When we finally were able to pry it open, there was the remains of grapefruit rinds, a big vodka bottle that had been jammed in there. When we went upstairs that night to go to bed, we could tell that our guest room and our room both had been remade, the bedding had been remade. And my husband went over to his side of the bed and saw on the floor a grungy-looking T-shirt wrapped around a rag that was left there. At that point, we did call the guys to come back after we found out about the party and confronted them that night. Their response was, "It's no big deal. We had a few friends over. What's the problem?" The next day, we found the money was missing. We found
What money?
in the drawer in my desk upstairs. We keep money in a bank bag. But as we started going through the house, like I said, we started finding more and more things that had been destroyed. On the nightstand in our bedroom, there's a watermark, which I do have a picture of that.
Tell me about this party, gentlemen. Now look,
Well, Your Honor.
I want you to look at me,
No,
and
I
I want you to make
apologize.
sure of one thing.
Okay.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
I want you to tell me about the party. Everything about the party.
Okay.
I want you to just realize it. The truth will set you free. Don't try to scam me with you had a couple of friends over for a little barbecue in the backyard. I want to know how many people were there, inside or outside. How many invited, how many uninvited. How many just showed up.
How many people showed up? Approximately on Friday night, we had about 40 people show up.
Okay, so you had about 40. And how many people had you in, because I read your papers, so, but you know, I've had teenagers, so I know.
I understand.
Okay, good. So you had about 40.
Your Honor?
Could there have been 50?
It's a possibility, yes, but
Oh,
it's not
so
likely.
there could have been 50. How many did you invite?
I personally didn't invite anybody to the party.
Who did?
That
I
would
did.
have been Rick.
How many did you invite to the party?
3 or 4 people.
Shh. So you invited 3 or 4 and 40 or 50 or so showed up. Did you call the police?
No,
Why not?
because everybody was having a good time. We were very responsible, kept the house locked at all times. Everybody was strictly in the backyard only,
Well,
and
people,
I didn't want to ruin a good time.
well,
Judge,
Mr.
the police were called.
Just a second. Mr. Large, you know that your conduct was unacceptable. You had a party, you had alcohol at the party? Speak.
Yes,
Who purchased the alcohol?
I purchased some of the alcohol.
All right. How much beer did you purchase, sir?
I didn't purchase beer. I purchased a bottle of gin,
Yes.
and that was it.
You mean that 40 or 50 people survived for an evening of revelry on one bottle of gin?
No, actually, people brought their own alcohol.
Really? So they were smart enough to come and bring their own stuff. Now, so you want to tell me how many hours this party lasted?
I don't know, about 8.
All right. So are you telling me, sir, that in an 8-hour party where everybody was drinking, nobody had to use a bathroom?
No, actually, they did, and I instructed them they weren't to go in the house under
So where
any
did they use a
circumstance.
bathroom? Where did they go potty?
I told them that they needed to go to a McDonald's down the street or somewhere down the street.
Sure.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Diana and Stephen Irwin claim former friends T.J. Cuddy and Rick Large were hired to look after their home. The Irwins say the boys threw a wild party and trashed their house.
So who slept in the beds?
Nobody slept in. I slept in a guest room, on the guest room bed.
Well, is that part of your agreement?
Well,
That you were supposed to stay in the house?
they let me, I actually live with the Irwins. They told me they treated me like a son. They had welcomed me everywhere. You know, they said, you're
Was
welcome.
it your arrangement on this weekend that you were to stay in the house?
No.
Miss Irwin,
Yes.
let me make myself clear. We are not going to entertain your missed money.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you why. Because it doesn't sound logical to me that somebody goes away and leaves two young men with access to their home and leaves what you claim was $8,000 in cash in your top desk drawer. Doesn't sound kosher to me. So I'm going to entertain your claim of whatever damage was done in your house, because I believe that both of these young men are absolutely responsible for that. Because if they invited 3 or 4 people and 50 people showed up, the first thing that you do if you are responsible is you get on the phone, you call the police, and you say there are people trespassing on this property and I want them removed. They chose not to do that because, according to Mr. Lodge, they were all having a good time in this party that lasted 8 hours. To me, a party lasts 4 hours and then your company goes home and that's it. So, tell me exactly what was damaged, how much it's going to cost to fix it, because that they are responsible for.
Well, we did also, I did want to say that the police were called 2 nights.
It was a long party. It was a long party.
Well, and the
you
one...
know that you don't leave teenage boys in your house, 19, 20, 21 years old, in your house and say, the house is now empty. Because you know what happens? The word gets out into the street. Party! And everybody comes.
They did note that they had planned the party well before we were out of town even.
Right. And how did they do that? Did they do that by
Right.
hiring, according to what I read in your complaint, a disc jockey?
Yes.
Was that disc jockey hired 3 weeks in advance?
No, ma'am.
When?
We called the disc jockey 2 hours before a party.
2 hours before the 3 or 4 people that you had invited arrived?
He was one of those.
Huh?
He was the person.
2 hours
one of
before the 3 or 4 people that you were having over for intimate barbecue in the backyard arrived, you called a disc jockey.
Well, Your Honor, the disc jockey was a personal friend of Rick's, and when he called his friend, the DJ, he was at another party, and instead of keeping that party there, he decided to bring it with him. That's how all those people ended up at the Irwin's house.
They get put off the premises by the police.
Yeah. We understand that what we did was wrong. That
Perfect.
night,
So then let's get to it. How much damage was caused?
Well, we had to have the house rekeyed because we found that the...
You're absolutely right. Rekeyed. How much? Let me just get out my little calculator.
75.
75.75.
The
What else?
car had to be rekeyed, 96.54. Now, on the table, I don't know how, or the nightstand, I don't know. I haven't gotten a quote on how much it will cost to fix the ring that's on there.
You have a picture of it for me to look at?
Yes, I do.
That's not a major deal. Do you have children?
Yes.
How old are your children?
25 and 27.
Ever left your children alone over the weekend and had a group of people over there that you didn't invite?
Yes, but they're much more responsible than that.
But it's happened. I know, I have kids.
But I think
I've had large parties, unanticipated parties at my house.
But I think the difference is it's my children and it's their home. And
That's why you trust your children. You don't trust strangers. You don't give strangers, teenagers, and those just above teen. How old are you?
I'm 24, but they always told me they treated me like a son.
Don't give me baloney.
Okay.
If they treated you like a son and you treated them like a parent, you would have been more careful with their property. Now let's get to Mr. Cuddy. Mr. Cuddy, according to your complaint, Mr. and Mrs. Irwin were very nice to you. You wanted a motorcycle.
yes.
And Mr. Irwin agreed to advance you some money for the motorcycle.
Yes, he agreed to be the lien holder on the title.
Right. According to what I read, it was $5,000. Is that right?
For $4,800 in these.
So almost $5,000. You put in $1,000 and he paid $4,000. Is that right?
That's correct.
And then he repossessed the motorcycle.
That's correct.
And you want the money that you put down on the
That's
motorcycle.
correct.
That's your claim. Where is the motorcycle now?
It is in storage.
And the title is in your name?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, then you have to return to him $1,009.46.
But, Your Honor,
Yes.
I'm stuck with a bike, and I have a consignment agreement from the dealer that shows that clearly that the value of the bike now, I'm going to take a loss.
Listen to me. If there's bad business on your part, but you I can
I
understand Mr. Cuddy. He put in $1,009.46. He had an agreement with you. It was a verbal agreement that You were going to be the lien holder on the bike, and he was going to pay for it. You cannot keep that bike and not give him back his $1,000. You can't do it. So on your counterclaim, Mr. Cuddy, I am awarding you the $1,009.46. On your claim, Mr. and Mrs. Irwin, for these boys doing damage to your home, you are entitled to $197.29 with the admonition to you, keep strangers out of your house and don't give them access to your house because it's always trouble. And with the admonition to you, Mr. Lodge, that if you say to me that these people treated you like you were a child of theirs, one of theirs, and was very good to you, you certainly didn't respect them nor their property in a way that I would like one of my children to behave. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Their house looked better when we left than when we got there.
The reality was it was 2 nights of parties and a barbecue.
He said that the next time Diana went out of town, he wanted us to throw a party again and invite him.
It's closure. That's what we purpose of coming.
He's a shady guy. I mean, he's really a slime ball.
Hopefully we can all move on with our lives and just go forward.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Clem versus Randolph. Step forward, please.
31-year-old home siding installer Mike Clem is suing his fiance's brother, 17-year-old James Randolph, for kicking his car in a fit of rage. James says he became upset when Mike refused to give him a ride to work.
Mr. Clem, the defendant is your soon-to-be brother-in-law,
Yes, Your Honor.
and he damaged your car
Yes, ma'am.
in a fit of anger,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you want him to pay for it.
Yes.
You acknowledge, sir, that you damaged this car, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, tell me why you did that, and when you did that, and why you shouldn't be responsible for paying for it.
Well, at the time, I was extremely angry.
What were you angry at?
We got in a little fight because I was supposed to go to work that day. He said he would, and then...
He would what?
He would take me to work.
At what time was this?
It was maybe around 11:30ish.
So at 11:30 you asked him, and he said he could, and then what happened?
It was around 1 o'clock or so. He said, he started walking out the door, and I asked him again, and he said he wasn't going to take me anywhere.
Did he say why?
He said he was going the opposite way.
So what did you do?
I got mad, and I went back in the house.
Tell me about his car.
Well, after I went in the house, he came inside, and he started yelling at me. My mother...
What was he yelling?
He was just saying, you jerk, and things like that.
Why, had you said anything nasty to him?
At the time, I didn't know.
Go ahead.
So then he kept on, saying the same things. My mom tried to get him, to sit down and everything and just calm down. He pushed my mother out of the way, and then I got extremely mad. And then we both ended up actually getting in a fist fight.
We haven't gotten to the car yet.
Well, after that, after he left, I was very angry. I had to do something. He pushed Mom out of the way. So I went up to the car, and
Which car?
This car is up on blocks.
And what'd you do?
No, I just kicked it because I was so mad.
I would like you to tell me your version of what happened. At 11:30 he asked you to take him to work?
No, ma'am.
Tell me what happened.
It was about 11 o'clock that morning. Him and his sister, my fiance, Stacy, went into town and to the store and some other odd and ends. At that point, he told her, I got to be at work at 12 noon. And to the best of my knowledge, she never agreed to take him. So when she got back with my truck, I had to go to work that day, which was on a Sunday, but I had to be at work. So he asked me, he said, can you take me to work? He said, you got to take me. I said, Keith, I said, no, I don't. I said, that's out of my way, and I said, I got to go to work. Well, he went back in the house. He slammed my door. Then he came back out when Stacy exited my house. She went to work with me that day and said something to her, and she said, Keith, she said, I can't take you. I'm going with Mike. Well, he got mad and went back into my house, slammed my door the second time. Well, then at that point in time, that's when I entered my house. And we got into a little screaming match. There was punches thrown, but there really was no connection to him. His mother did get in the middle of it, try to break it up. But to the best of my knowledge, and I mean, you may ask Stacy, she did not get pushed or hit.
Okay. Now, when did you notice any damage to your car?
It was the following day. I was out in the yard with Stacy and my uncle, and I happened to look in my yard, and I seen a big dent in my quarter panel. When I went up to look at it, me and my uncle, you could visibly see a footprint.
Fine. So now, Mr. Randolph, I'd like you to tell me why you are not responsible for the damage.
Well, as I told you before about my mom.
I don't care about your mom. That doesn't give you license to go out and hurt his car. What's next?
But the thing is, you know, I was so angry, and the car is old, it's all in blocks, there's a bunch of trash inside of it.
Is that your defense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can I see the pictures of the car and the estimate for the repair, please?
Yes, ma'am. And you can visibly see there is tires on the car, wheels and tires. At one time, there was a back tire off, and that was for us trying to push the dent out, and it would not come out.
How many times did you kick the car, sir?
4 times on each side.
And nasty. Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,490. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's excused. You may step out.
If you're going to do the damage, you're going to have to pay the price.
I had to do something. You know, I couldn't go after him, of course, because he is a big guy. He probably would have hurt me.
I gave him 3.5 months, and he never gave me $1.
They're going to be getting married soon. I don't know if I'm invited. If I am, way to go. If not, oh well.
Yeah, this is case number 519 on the calendar in the matter of Gaines versus Roderick. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Ms. Gaines, it is your claim that the defendant filed false assault charges against you after an incident that I can only describe as road rage. You want to tell me what started this incident and when it happened?
Okay. I was on my lunch break.
What date?
It was on December 19th.
2001?
2000.
Okay. Go ahead.
What happened was Donna had ran a red light.
You didn't know her before?
No, I didn't. I didn't know her. She had ran a red light, cut across me. I looked over, and then she flipped me off. And then we started fussing back and forth. She had a phone. She had her cell phone on her.
So she was in front of you?
She was on the right side of me at that point.
So she was on the right side of you on her cell phone?
Correct.
Go ahead.
She started, at that point, she started coming across the lane, across the line, over like she was trying to hit me. And I didn't know what was going on. So I moved out of her way to prevent an accident. Also, I noticed she had her kid in the car, in the back seat. So, you know, I'm trying to get out the way to avoid an accident. She pulled over at the same time.
Behind you or in front of you?
Behind me.
And she got out of her car?
Correct.
And then what happened?
Okay, at that point, I felt she had a kid in the car. She was endangering my life. She was endangering her kid's life. As a citizen, I went over there and asked, what is your problem? You're driving recklessly. You need to watch what you're doing. And
is that what you said to her? Just that way?
Correct, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And I left. I got back in my car. I didn't run. I got back in my car, and I proceeded back to work.
What happened next?
Okay. What happened, the vehicle was not registered to me. It was my roommate's father's vehicle. And, of course, it has a distinguished license plate. It had a name on there. So, apparently, I guess, Donna had filed a false report, which I have the report here.
Can I see the report, please?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. Donna had filed a false report, and apparently the detective was trying to find out who the vehicle belonged to. He called...
Ultimately, you were arrested?
No, I was not arrested. Ultimately, I was charged.
Ultimately, the charges were dismissed. Is that right?
Correct.
And you are suing her for your attorney's fees, lost wages, and everything else
Correct.
for filing this false police report. Okay. Now I'll hear your version of the events, Ms. Roderick.
Okay, Your Honor. First of all, I did not run a red light because where I pulled out of, there was no red light. It was a stop sign. It was a side road. I was coming out from my house. I was making a left-hand turn, just like as I should have made a left-hand turn, and all of a sudden, I hear honking in the back of me.
That's incorrect.
I don't want you to interrupt her.
Okay.
I heard honking in the back of me. I'd had my 3-year-old son with me. I was in the left lane, and she was behind me honking. I then pulled to the right lane to let her pass because she was obviously aggravated, honking her horn.
Don't interrupt her. You're interrupting.
Okay.
I moved into the right lane to let her pass. I figured she was in a hurry, you know. And then she didn't pass me. She stayed next to my car, and she was the one flipping me off, I couldn't hear what she was saying, but it was obvious that what she was saying was foul language, flipping me off. She then tried to put her car into my lane. I then slowed down. She then proceeded, she got in front of me, and this is while traffic is moving along us. She slowed down, and then she stopped her car in the middle of traffic, in the middle of the lane. She stopped in front of me. I couldn't pull to the side of the road because there's a sidewalk, there's no space to pull over. She then rushed out of her car. I had my cell phone because I was going to call the police. She came rushing out of her car towards my car. I have my 3-year-old son in the car. I got out of my car because I didn't know at this point she'd tried to run me off of the road. I thought she was crazy already at this point. I got out of the car. I told her that she needed to get back in the car. I was going to call the police.
If you were afraid of me, why didn't you drive off?
I don't talk.
Ms. Gaines,
because you were
with a phone.
You were in front
She was in front of me. Don't answer her. This is interesting.
She was in front of me, or I would have gotten away from her.
There is a reverse on your car.
You're demonstrating that you have a bad temper.
Okay.
So you're not helping yourself.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, I understand.
Good. So now you're up to the point where you have your cell phone and you're going to call the police.
Yes, and I told her if she, and we were in the middle of the street, traffic was going by, we were both in danger, and I was worried about my 3-year-old son in the car because we were right in the lane. I told her if she did not get back in her car and get going, I was going to call the police. She was in my face, threatening me, you don't know who you're messing with, and I attempted to call the police. She then tried to grab my cell phone from me.
How did she do that?
Well, she went to grab it, but it wasn't, I didn't let go of it. I pulled it back.
Okay.
At this point, she was then screaming. She grabbed me by the hair, pulled my hair, still cussing at me, and then she hit me in the forehead. At this point, I was scared. My son was crying. He was very upset. She got in her car and took off. I was very shaken, and I kept going. I pulled over when I could, and I'm on the phone trying to dial the police to let them know I'd just been assaulted. And I'm talking to the police, and I see a lady on this pulled over on the side of the road. She's waving at me, come here, and I then pulled up to this lady, and she asked me, are you okay? I saw everything. I got her license plate number for you, because it happened so quick. I was just stressed out. I was nervous. Luckily, the witness that I didn't know, she had saw everything. She gave me the license plate number. She was running late for an appointment, but she did leave her phone number for me in case she needed to be a witness in this.
You have a police report?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please?
May I say something else later, Your Honor?
Well, this totally independent witness who did stop to give the defendant her name, her telephone number, was very clear in the statement that she gave to the police. The police interviewed her via telephone. She indicated that she saw you get out of the front of your car, which was pulled in front of hers, and the two of you began to argue. Then you, who had gotten out of the front car, hit the other female in the face with her hand, and then you ran back to your car and fled the scene.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Valerie Gaines says she was arrested when Donna Roderick filed a false report with police. Donna says Valerie attacked her in a fit of road rage.
So here we have a witness who clearly says she observed you do, Ms. Gaines, exactly what the defendant said that you did, which was to assault her. Just a second, I have some questions. Oh, you want to tell me something? I'll hear you. Then I'll ask you my questions.
Okay. I saw a lady or a person that was in a vehicle about 3 light poles away. In the statement, it should have showed, because I believe it's on there, she was looking through her rearview mirror.
So what?
We were parallel to her. She could not even see my back.
Don't tell me what you couldn't see. That's what you told the police.
Okay.
That's what you put in the police report.
Okay.
Can't tell me what you could or could not see.
And if I hit her, did she make a downward movement? Because if I would have hit her, she wouldn't have stayed in her standing
Ms. Gaines,
upright.
I don't know what you would have done, what you could have done when you hit her, Ms.
Right.
Gaines.
Correct.
So now I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
When were you supposed to go to trial on this case?
Okay.
The first date?
The first day I was supposed to go, I guess, January 24th.
Oh.
I did not know because...
Just a second.
Okay.
Did you retain an attorney?
I retained an attorney after I had went through 2 different... I went to court. Yeah, 2 times I had to go to court. And then at that time, I decided to obtain a lawyer.
Just one second. You went to court once, and you asked for an adjournment to get a lawyer. Don't play, I don't understand you, Judge Judy. You asked for an adjournment to get a lawyer, and then you came back to court, and you didn't have a lawyer. So you asked for another postponement to get a lawyer?
No.
Well, what did you go to court twice for, Miss Gaines?
Okay. The first time I had to go to court, there was a bench warrant placed on me.
So now you got a bench warrant and you appear. Okay.
Correct.
So you appear. And what happened when you appeared? What did the judge tell you?
I can't remember exactly.
Judge tell you that you should get a lawyer?
Well, yes. At that
Okay. Now, then you went back to court the second time. Did you come back to court the second time with or without a lawyer?
No, I did not.
What do you mean, no, you did not? I don't understand what that means.
This
You did
was
not come back with a lawyer.
I felt that it was a frivolous case, and I was
Pay
hoping
attention
that
to
we
my
could-
question.
Yes.
You were
No, I
told
didn't.
to come back with a lawyer, and you did not come back with a lawyer.
No, I did not.
And then the judge said to you, I told you to come back with a lawyer. I'm going to postpone the case again and come back with a lawyer. Correct?
At that time, I thought we were going to go to trial, and I was not going to have a lawyer, but then we had to go further, because I thought we were going to dismiss the case. I was trying to get the case dismissed because I felt it was a frivolous case.
So then you got a lawyer.
And they wanted to pursue it. Then I did get a lawyer.
And when you came to court with a lawyer on the third occasion, did you go to trial?
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yes.
Very interesting. So the first time the lawyer appeared in court, you were ready to go to trial?
Correct.
But there was no trial?
No.
There was no trial because?
It got postponed. Because
it got postponed why?
The judge postponed it because of time.
Counsel did, Your Honor.
The time, the judge,
Her counsel
the
did.
judge proposed.
How many times did the witness, Miss Roderick, appear in court?
I'm
speaking. How many times did this witness appear for you, this witness who had nothing to do with this incident? Wasn't your friend, wasn't your sister, wasn't your mother, wasn't anybody else. How many times did this person take time off from work or other business to come to court to testify on your behalf?
I believe it was 3 times.
Okay. And on those 3 occasions, she did not get to testify, is that right?
No, she didn't. It was continued again.
Right. That's what defense lawyers do. They continue. Put your hand down. They continue cases because what they do is they figure they're going to wear down a witness. And eventually, this Good Samaritan witness is going to get fed up with taking time off from work to come to testify at this trial.
I believe that's exactly what happened.
Well, I don't know whether it's exactly what happened or not, but it's probably pretty close. In any event, Ms. Gaines, you have absolutely no civil case against the defendant.
Excuse me, Your Honor?
Absolutely none. I have to believe that she made up this story. Now, perhaps if it were just the two of you, I would have a much easier time in believing that she just made up this story out of spite. However, the police interviewed a totally independent witness who appeared in court, maybe not 3 occasions, maybe 2 occasions, when either you or your lawyer requested a continuance and was prepared to testify consistent with her statement to the police, which was that she saw you hit her. Go ahead.
Excuse me. Okay. I would like to say that it was not my lawyer that kept continuing the case. It was the judge, because there was so much time that was being delayed by other cases.
Fine. It was the judge. It was the judge who continued the case.
Okay. And the main thing was I was found not guilty.
No, you weren't. You never went to trial.
I did go to trial. I was found not guilty. Here's a deposition. I was found not guilty.
So you did go to trial with just the two of you testifying,
yes, and
but
we
not the witness.
testified.
Exactly. The witness had missed work enough.
Okay.
I missed work too. Also, I have stress.
Cares? You hit her.
I missed stress. I did not hit her.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I did not hit this
yes,
woman.
You did.
I did not touch her. I don't know what her problem is.
I just
am
Roderick,
the victim.
Miss Roderick, I am not prepared to say, based upon what I have read today, you were not found innocent. You were not found innocent.
That disposition says I was found not guilty.
That's what it says. There is a difference between innocent and not guilty. The not guilty says that the district attorney took the case to trial because the district attorney felt that there was sufficient evidence to go to trial. And after trial, either the court or if there was a jury found that the district attorney had not sustained their burden beyond a reasonable doubt, which is clearly not the standard of proof in a civil trial. Civil trial, in this trial, the quantum of proof is a preponderance of evidence, which is more evidence than not.
Okay.
Clearly, the police had absolute justification for issuing a bench warrant for you. There is an independent witness who unfortunately didn't show up for the third time for trial, who told the police that she saw you hit her. So you have no case, Miss Gaines.
How far away
Your case
was
is
she?
dismissed.
How far
I have no
away
idea. She's not here.
What?
That's all.
Oh, I'm railroaded. I've been
Step back.
railroaded. I can't believe this.
I'm glad that Judge Judy was able to see through her.
I've lost a lot of money.
I did the right thing by calling the cops.
This is BS.
If she needs to say that to make people think that's what it was, that's fine.
I did not touch her.
All I know is she did put her hands on me.
I got a lawyer to fight my case, and this is all BS.
I don't know why it escalated. Maybe she was having a bad day.
I'm telling you, I didn't touch her.
She's irate right now, screaming and yelling.
I'm telling you, this whole thing is BS. I should have just went on my own.
That's on her. I don't really, that just shows how ignorant she is.
This whole thing is BS.
Look at her attitude now. She didn't touch me, though.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Phillips versus Crane. Step forward.
21-year-old car service writer Billy Phillips is suing his ex-girlfriend, 21-year-old receptionist Emily Crane, for a down payment on a car. Emily says Billy took the vehicle back.
Mr. Phillips, let me see if I understand your complaint.
Okay.
I really wasn't quite sure that I was reading it correctly.
Okay.
You and the defendant dated. She needed a car or wanted a car. You made the following agreement with her. You would purchase a car in your name.
Correct.
You put down the deposit, which was $1,000,
Correct.
and you were going to take care of the expenses on the car until she turned 21.
That is correct.
And when she turned 21, she would take over all of the payments and give you your $1,000.
Correct.
Before she turned 21, the two of you broke up.
Yes.
So after you broke up, you went and took back the car
Correct.
before she was 21.
Yes. In the beginning
Now
of...
you have possession of the car,
Correct.
and you want her to pay you the $1,000 deposit.
Correct.
Are you nuts? Mr. Phillips, your original agreement with her was she turns 21, she gives you back your $1,000, and she takes over the car payments. And when she's paid it off, you give her the pink slip to the car, so that it's titled in her.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
What was the reason you took the car back before she turned 21?
Because the car was still in my name.
Oh, but that's not her fault.
I'm not saying it was, Your Honor. I just...
But you breached the agreement, sir.
So...
You breached the agreement. She didn't breach the agreement by not turning 21 earlier.
I'm not saying
she
she
has to
did.
wait until she's 21. That's something beyond her control. You breached the agreement by taking the car back. Now, if she had turned 21 and she did not give you back your $1,000 and assumed the car payments, then you have a right to take the car back and say, you breached the agreement. You didn't give me back my $1,000, but you made it impossible for her to perform her agreement with you because you repossessed the car. Why do you think you're entitled to your $1,000?
Basically because that was the agreement we agreed on.
No, it wasn't. The agreement that you had, sir, was that she was going to give you the $1,000, pay off the car, and have a car. That was the agreement. She wasn't going to give you the $1,000 and pay off a car with you in possession of the car. She was going to have a car to drive around in. You took back the car before she turned 21. Am I getting through to you?
Yes, you are getting...
Perfect. Case dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Yeah, this is case number 534 on the calendar in the matter of Trester versus Richardson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats.
Miss Trester, the defendant was a roommate of yours, and it is your claim that when she moved out, she purposely bleached your clothes, and in addition, she either took or stole some of your property.
Yes.
Defendant says nonsense. When did you move in together?
We moved in August.
How many people were sharing the apartment?
There's 4 of us all together.
Was it an apartment, a
It
townhouse?
was a townhome, three levels.
Were you going to school or working?
I do both.
And the other people?
My brother and the other roommate work, and Layla was working at the time.
When did you move out?
I moved out on November 9th, 2000.
Had you signed the lease?
Yes, I had.
So you broke your lease when you moved out?
No, I had cleared it with our landlord.
But you were breaking your lease by moving out early?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me why you moved out.
I moved out because I would come home various nights from work, and pretty much in the living room, couch, entertainment center, everything was mine. And stuff was getting misused on my entertainment center. My cats were purposely being let outside, and they weren't outside cats. And I was just, you know, I moved all my stuff up to my room pretty much. And a couple days later, I was in Cheyenne, Wyoming, visiting a friend. Cassandra called me and pretty much told me that it was unfair that I moved my stuff upstairs because, you know, all the roommates were using it. And I explained that pretty much, you know, if they can't use it properly, it is my stuff. I should be able to move it up to my room if I'd like to. And pretty much after that, we just weren't getting along, arguing, yelling at each other. And I had previously been in a car accident. I didn't need any extra stress, so I figured it was better for both of us just to end the situation and for me to move out and move on.
Now, Ms. Jessup, it is your claim that the defendant damaged some of your property, and that was on the 9th of November?
Yes.
Well, tell me about it.
Well, actually, to correct her, the reason she moved out is we actually had a physical confrontation a couple days before. She had thrown a bowl at my head and I slapped her back.
She'd thrown a what at your head?
A cat food bowl at my head, and I had slapped her back. I went in later that day and apologized and was like, we'll work these things out. I know you lost your job, you don't have rent. I can cover you for a little bit longer, we just need to work on it. She wasn't paying her bills.
How long hadn't she paid the rent?
It was due on the 1st, so she moved out on the 9th, so it was 9 days late. And the main thing was that our bills she had written checks to bounced, and she was unwilling to take care of them. That was the problem, and she was like, I'm too busy to take care of it, so I was like, well, you need to take care of it or get out. At that point, we were okay. I came home. I felt that her moving her stuff out of the front room was vindictive because she was doing it because she was upset at me. And I told her, if this is the way it's going to continue to be, maybe it'll be better if you get out. I would rather have you out. She said that I was overreacting. We needed to talk about it. So I was like, we'll talk about it when I get home from work the next day. She called me at work from that day, that was on the 7th, and told me that she was moving out. I went home that night to monitor things getting moved around because, of course, things always get taken when people move out. And her mom and her were egging me on to fight, saying that I wasn't tough enough, so I went up into my room and stayed until I had heard that they'd left. When I left, I came downstairs to grab all my stuff, because while I was up in my room, I heard her and her mom constantly going, is this Cassie's stuff? If it is, I don't care, break it. It's not mine. I don't care, break it. Hearing things thud, hit the wall, laughing, just very horrible things. So when I came downstairs, the first thing I went to was my clothes, because that's most important to most girls. But and I went into there, and the bleach was just overwhelming. Like, my eyes started burning.
On what floor is the laundry room?
It's on the first level. The 2 bedrooms are upstairs, so I came downstairs, and I could smell bleach as soon as I got to the bottom of the stairs and went in there. And lo and behold, all of my clothes have bleach on them. And the bleach bottle was standing up and had the cap on it. So I called the police and made a report, and that's this for you.
What other items do you say that the defendant has of yours?
Clothes, books. She had also borrowed a bunch of things from me because I always was open to letting her borrow whatever she wanted as long as she returned it. And I'd asked for her to give that stuff back before she moved out. And she said that she would and never did. She moved out, and about 2 weeks after she was completely out of the house, I came home and there were multiple things missing, including almost half of my wardrobe. I had barely anything left. And of course, I live with 2 boys, so they're not borrowing it. And she still had the keys at that time that she was unwilling to give because she stated that she was still on the lease until I got a new person on the lease, and she was entitled to come over.
I'll hear you.
Thank you. Actually, the night we were moving out, about a couple days before, about me throwing a cat bowl.
I don't care about cat bowl. I care about her bleached clothing.
Yeah, the night we were moving out, I had quite a few friends over helping me pack, and my own mother. And my mom had gone in the bathroom saying, you know, is any of this stuff yours, Layla? And I said, the bleach is mine, but there's not enough to even worry about taking. There's probably like an inch left in the bottle, so I wasn't even gonna worry about it. And I also, if you would like to look at it, my mom was supposed to be my witness today, because in the police report you can see that Cassie actually said my mother bleached her clothes.
I don't care if it was her mother or if it was you or one of the friends that you brought over.
Okay.
Madam, you're responsible.
Okay.
I mean, that's easy. Nobody bleaches their own clothes.
Can I make another point, please?
Just a second. Nobody bleaches their own clothes. And if you just said to me, I was there with my mother, and some other of my friends who came to help me move, it's clear to me that she did not bleach her own clothes. So either you bleached her clothes. I can't imagine your mother being immature enough to bleach her clothes, but maybe one of your friends. Maybe your mother, when she got annoyed and she said, is this bleach yours? And you said, yes, but it's not worth taking because there's only an inch left in it. And she said, fine, and poured it out. Something like that, but you're responsible for her clothes. Next.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Cassandra Trester says ex-roommate Layla Richardson owes for bleaching her clothes. Cassandra also claims that while moving out, Layla stole her belongings.
You have any of her clothing?
No, I don't.
I'm going to say it again. Do you have any of her clothing?
No, I don't, ma'am. And can I just say one more thing about
Sure.
when I was moving out? We were moving out, and I got my stuff in trucks to go to the storage unit to put in there, and it was about 8:30, and we were walking right past that bathroom. I didn't smell any bleach. I am really unaware of what happened, honestly. If you can look at the police report, that would be great.
Why would you think she would bleach her own clothes?
I really don't know, but...
What's the value of the clothing that was bleached and destroyed?
Sorry, I don't have it all added. I have it all added in between.
Okay, let me have it.
Turtleneck, which was $80. Trans 9 pants, $80 as well. Long sleeve blue shirt, just $20. Pair of jeans, $50. Black short sleeve shirt worth $20. Blue Chinese riding shirt, which is $30. A black sweater, which is $30, and pajama bottoms worth $10.
$320. Now, you have no direct proof that she stole anything from your house.
Actually, I do.
I'd like to hear the proof.
Jeremy called me and was like, Layla just came over. Jeremy.
What's your last name?
Skog.
Okay. How do you know these people?
At the time, I was Layla's best friend and also a very good friend of Cassie's.
Okay.
I was there with Layla helping her move her things out. What Cassie said about Layla taking different articles of her clothing, or I'm sorry, different things out of the kitchen and stuff, is this Cassie's, okay, then break it. That is correct. That happened several times throughout the night. I went into the bathroom to go to the bathroom, and I recall there being a strong odor of cat litter, and I actually mentioned something about that. After I left the bathroom, only 2 people went into the bathroom before Cassie found the bleach, which was Layla and her mother. Later that night, after everything had happened, right after the police officer had called me, Layla called me and said, please don't say that my mom and I did it. I swear I had nothing to do with it. Please don't say that my mom and I did it. I told her I'd already talked to the police officer and that I said I wasn't positive that she had done it, but that I had told the police officer that the only 2 people in the bathroom were Layla and her mother. A couple days later, she called me and said, I want you to see how cute I look today. Can I come over? I said, absolutely. She came over and she was wearing the purple floral skirt of Cassie's that she had lost and the gray New York sweater. And
yeah, just a second. Yes?
I'm sorry, I obviously didn't steal any of her clothes.
Well, let's talk about that particular outfit. He's not lying. He's telling me the truth.
Okay. Well,
He's telling me the truth. That's what he saw you wearing.
Okay, well, actually, I don't have a pink floral skirt or anything.
You don't have one that belongs to you.
Correct.
No, I don't wear skirts, ma'am.
Listen to me.
I don't have
Listen to me.
her clothes.
He's not lying to me. How do I know that? I don't share my secrets, but I know that he's not lying to me.
And then I believe almost every day that week, she had come over wearing something that I recognized as Cassie's. The gray New York sweatshirt that she was wearing, or the sweater vest that she was wearing at the time, actually was one of the reasons that these 2 were fighting, was because Cassie, it was her favorite sweater, and she'd asked for it back several times, and Layla refused. Every time we went to Layla's house that she was wearing it, she would take it off before we even went into the house so that Cassie didn't see it. Layla has her lip and her eyebrow pierced. She had Cassie's horseshoe barbell in her lip and a barbell in her eyebrow as well, which belonged to Cassandra as well. I've seen her in the clothes several times.
High marks for having places to put those.
Actually, I don't have that many places. They're extra for my belly button. She used them for her eyebrow ring.
I'll hear you witness. You have a witness?
Yes,
Is that why you brought this person?
His name is Steven Snow. He was there the same night also.
Okay, Steve, I've already decided that she or her mother bleached the clothes. So I want you to pass over the bleaching. I don't want you to waste your time with nonsense about the bleaching. She or her mother bleached the clothes. What do you know about any other clothes that are in Miss Richardson's possession that don't belong to her? Do you know anything about that?
I do not.
Good, then you may be seated. Ms. Richardson.
Yes?
You're going to lie big. You don't lie over $500, which is what the plaintiff is suing for. She's suing for $500 for her clothes. The bleached clothes alone come to $320. I would give her the $500 just because you were nasty. But I found that you do, in fact, have other of her property that you decided for some reason to appropriate for your own use. I would suggest you better grow up. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Stuff was being thrown around, but nothing was broken. I was in the same bathroom, didn't smell any smell.
The judge knew he was telling the truth.
He's only there for 10 minutes. I'm sure he knew a lot.
Maybe she's vindictive. I don't know.
I think the truth came out, and I'm glad that it happened.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Tao versus Perry. Step forward, please.
27-year-old claims adjuster Daisy Tao is suing ex-boyfriend, 33-year-old graphic artist Adam Perry, for an unpaid loan. Adam says the money in question was to pay Daisy's bills.
Ms. Tao, the defendant is a former boyfriend of yours. I gather that you lived together for a brief period of time. You claim 2 loans to the defendant totaling $2,500. Relationship is over. You want your money.
Yes, that's correct, ma'am. I did not live with him, though. That's not correct.
You did not?
No, I never lived with him.
Okay. When, I'll get to you in a second. When was the first loan?
On February 9th, 2001.
What was it for?
He's told me that he was behind in rent, car payment, that he didn't have any money, and so I helped him out. I gave him a loan of $1,500 that we agreed upon that he would pay me back when he got his taxes. And in March, he told me that he was still short and behind on his mortgages.
Could you put your hand down?
And so then I had to loan him another $1,000. And so at that point, I was getting a little concerned, and I did tell him that I expected him to pay me back. He agreed to this and said that he would pay me back in the summer, because at the time he was unemployed and trying to go to school.
Where were you living in February of 2001?
I lived at home in Little Canada, Minnesota.
At home with whom?
With my family.
Where were you living in March?
At home.
And where was the defendant living?
He lived in Dayton, Minnesota.
Were you working?
Yes.
Did you ever stay over at his house or apartment?
I would go to see him once in a while, yes.
I'm asking you a question. I expect honest answers. Do you
Yes.
understand? Did you ever stay over at his home?
Yes, I've spent the night at his house, yes.
On an average of how many nights a week?
Maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks.
Now, Mr. Perry, it is agreed that she gave you $2,500.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you tell me what that money was for.
In January, Your Honor, she wanted to move in together. I had a relative living with me, and she asked if I had my relative move out.
Your Honor, that is not true.
I don't want you to interrupt him.
So my cousin moved out, and she agreed to roughly pay half of the bills, which I have a list of a couple of months, which total a little over $1,100, and she said she would pay half.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Do you want...
I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't mean to be disrespectful.
Then you can't speak when he's speaking. When, according to you, did she move into your home?
In early January.
She moved all of her clothes and belongings and...
She had clothes, belongings, hair dryers, curling irons.
Are you telling me, sir, that she moved all of her personal belongings from her parents' house into your house?
She wasn't living at her parents' house, Your Honor.
Where was she living?
She would stay at some friend's house, and she moved from place to place, and that's why she asked, because she was going to switch her job position and move closer to where I lived so that we could be together.
So she moved in January?
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
she agreed to, according to you, roughly pay half the expenses?
Exactly what my cousin was paying, which was about $500.
Well, now you changed the story.
Mm-hmm.
So which is the story, that she agreed to pay for roughly half the expenses, or that you had a fixed amount of $500?
It was about $500, Your Honor.
Now, about $500, sir, isn't an agreement.
No.
So what was it? Well, let's say this. She moved in January.
Yes.
Did she give you a check in January?
No. She did not
No,
give me...
shh, no.
Okay.
She gave you nothing in January.
No.
And then on February 9th, she did give you $1,500.
Yes.
Is that right?
She said...
Just a minute. And that was the beginning of February.
Yes.
So I assume you were going to tell me that at the beginning of February, having lived there for 1 month and having had an agreement with you that she would pay you roughly $500 a month, she decided to pay you for January.
Yes, Your Honor.
And February.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then prepay March.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that's $1,500.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then in March, right now she's already paid in March, for March. But in March, she gives you another $1,000.
Yes.
And that is, I assume you're going to testify that she said to you, well, I've already paid for March, but I like to pay my bills in advance, so I'm going to pay you for April and May.
Yes, she gave me money.
Yes, that's what you're telling me.
Yes,
That's
Your
what she
Honor.
did. Is that right?
Yes.
Bull. That's not the way it works, sir. If somebody agrees to move in with you as a roommate, and let's say she fell behind in January, so she maybe would have given you January, if I believed your story, January and February. So she would have given you $1,000 to cover January and February.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then when March came, she would have paid you $500 for March, so she would have given you a total of $1,500 for January, February, and March.
Yes.
And what you're telling me is, no, that's not what she did. She paid you 3 months at one time, a little in advance, and then she paid you for 2 months after that. I don't believe you, sir.
She wanted me to keep ahead, Your Honor.
I don't believe you, sir. I believe that you fell behind in your bills. Now, you didn't tell me about that. Did you fall behind in your bills?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So you needed money.
Yes.
Is that right? Did you say anything to her about giving her back any money when you got your tax returns in April?
I did not, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
She was there at least 4 days a week, Your Honor.
I was
Oh,
not.
shh, just a minute. Mr. Perry, when somebody lives with you full-time,
Yes.
they are not there 4 days a week.
No, she was not living with me full-time.
Give her back her money, Mr. Perry. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Now, this is case number 437 on the calendar in the matter of Yukevich versus Seiss. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Ms. Yukevich, you were a waitress in a restaurant.
Correct.
The defendant was there with a group of family members, a large group of family members.
Correct.
And it is your claim that while there, she assaulted you.
Yes.
And you want to be compensated not only for the assault, but for your lost wages and your pain and suffering.
Yes.
The defendant says she never hit you. Were you the person who was serving the defendant's group?
No.
Tell me what happened.
Well, that party had been sitting there for a while, and they were drinking a lot. And I was in the section next to this large party, and I had a couple of tables there. And throughout the night, they were having problems, my tables with the large party, because the large party was kind of getting out of control, standing up, backing into my tables. And I believe that woman right over there was smoking in the non-smoking section, and a table had asked me, you know, to tell the woman to stop because it was bothering them, and they were in the non-smoking
She was
section.
just standing in the...
Just standing in the non-smoking, smoking. So I walked up to her and I proceeded to tell her, ma'am, you can't smoke here, this is non-smoking. She then proceeded to get very defensive with me. And
What did she say?
She said, we're leaving. You can't tell me when to leave and what to do. I can stay here as long as I want and do whatever I want. And I said, you can, ma'am, but you can't smoke here. And she proceeded to say the same thing, call me some names like you white gringa, weta. And I said, you know what, if you want to be a grumpy old woman, be a grumpy old woman, but do it somewhere else. And I walked away because I knew the situation was going to get out of control. So I went to go tell my manager what had happened. And as I was walking around, she came running up to me, excuse me, you white bitch, you white bitch. That's her, grabbed me, slammed me up against the wall like this, started punching me, kicking me, scratching at my face or something, and slamming me up against the wall. And I'm freaked out because I've never seen this woman before in my life. Luckily, then one of my coworkers jumped in between, and she's reaching around him, you know, punching like this, kicking, and that's when I looked down the way at my section, and there was a full-out brawl. That large party of hers, they had tables thrown over, broken bottles. One of my customers was on the ground, and they were kicking him. He was bloody from head to toe. At that point, I don't know where she went, but I ended up just running because I didn't know what to do. It was like a flight, something. I took off to run outside because I was like, I'm getting the hell out of this situation. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
What kind of injuries did you sustain?
I have some pictures here.
I'd like to see
And
them.
I have a medical bill. They're not very good pictures. She did throw me up against the wall, so like a lot of it was to the back of my head.
This is the medical bill here. The restaurant did pay for the medical bill, but that's just the... on there, you can see some of the scratches on my face.
Were you taken to the emergency room then?
The EMS checked me out, and then they told me to go to the hospital afterwards. So I went, right after I got off work, I went to the emergency room.
Did you miss any work?
Yes, I did. I have this that shows what I missed several days. I also have a police report and an incident report from my managers.
I'd like to see both.
This is police report, and this is incident report from the managers. There's also a statement from Margaret on that day in there, too, that it was an incident report, I guess. I did highlight a statement.
Okay, Ms. Saez, now I'm ready to hear from you. You were having dinner with your family. Go ahead.
Yes, but I believe we were there a different day because what she's saying is not at all the incident I was involved in. We were a party of 23, 5 generations. The incident, the way it started was I was walking Grandma out. She was walking out ahead of me. My witness was walking out ahead of me. And I sent Grandma off with someone else because I saw that they were having words with each other. The part where I walked in is where Hazel says, I didn't know we had a time limit, is what she told her at that time.
Who's Hazel?
This is my witness. Hazel's my niece.
I didn't know we had a time limit.
Right. So anyway, if you want, Hazel can tell you how the incident started with her, and she can tell you what went on.
So that's what you heard. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, what I heard them say, she says, you Mexicans never know when to leave.
I work in a Mexican restaurant.
Just a second. So that's, okay, just a second. So that's what you say you heard her say to your niece?
Yes. You Mexicans never know when to leave. Hazel says, I didn't know we had a time limit. And she says, yes, that's why nobody wants you people around, she told her. And then she proceeded to light a cigarette because she had been on her way out. And she tells her, you can't smoke here. It's a non-smoking area. And then she says, and besides, you're just jealous of my white skin and my blonde hair. Then turned around and walked out.
Go ahead.
So, you know, like, blood started boiling, but my daughter grabbed me at this time because there were some friends, other friends of ours there that we hadn't seen in a while. So then afterwards I went looking for her. I felt she was being very rude. I approached her. I was on my way to approach her to discuss the situation. I put my finger up at her to, you know, to make the point. The 2 bus boys jumped me at that time, grabbed me, and I do have some injuries and some, I'm disabled. I am on disability. I have metal fusions on my neck, arthritis spondylosis.
You never brought this
on
up.
my neck. I've since then been, I've had 6 surgeries and been diagnosed with fibromyalgia and all this stuff. Anyway, so I can't move. I can't do that kind of stuff. I approached her. The bus boys jumped me before I even said a word. And they started, and they pulled my arms back, which causes a great deal of pain for me. So I started yelling and screaming, let me go, let me go. So my son saw this, and he came over. He says, I'll take her out. Don't worry about her. So he got me by the arm, and we went out.
How do you think she got the scratches on her face, Miss Saez?
I have no idea. As a matter of fact, if you don't mind, I'd like to see the pictures because APD and the fire department were there. They checked her. And, you know, according to the police report, it says that they just let her go. It says battery, but they didn't arrest me. Had they found any marks on her or anything, and it's an assault, they would have arrested me.
They said they couldn't arrest her, that I would have to press charges. They didn't even arrest the people that assaulted my customer, and he was bleeding from head to toe.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Waitress Michelle Yukevich says she was assaulted on the job by customer Margaret Seiss. Margaret says Michelle insulted her with a racial slur.
So my question to you is, why didn't you press charges on her? Is there any reason?
Oh, I had to, it took me 45 days to get the police report, like seriously. And then I was waiting to go down and press charges. I know it's been a little while, but I mean, it's been in the back of my head.
It's not going to happen. Okay. Did
had I hit her,
Ms. Saez, I believe you made contact with the plaintiff. Let me tell you that.
No, I didn't.
Let me tell you why I believe you made contact with all of your disabilities. Because when someone is assaulted, they want the person responsible to compensate them or be punished. If she were assaulted by somebody else, you wouldn't be here. She said that you assaulted her. According to your own statement, you were hot, you got furious, according to you, when you heard her make comments to your niece, and you were hot then. Then you went back to find her. And you didn't go back to find her just to have a discussion, because by that time, things were starting to get rowdy between the tables on your side and the tables on the other side, because this looks to me as if it turned into a free-for-all. So you had not only the opportunity, but you had the mental capacity at that moment to strike out at her.
Your Honor, I wear these rings all the time, plus other ones. I just toned it down a little bit. These would have left some big bruises had I punched her.
Look at
the way the tables are set in the restaurant, there is no way that you can get her against the wall. And on her police report, she says on here that I was smoking and that I was seated in a non-smoking area, which I wasn't.
Police got confused, but the whole story, the story that I get in the complaint...
No, but she says that she came back.
Listen to me,
she didn't talk to me. She talked to her.
The stories that you both told today are totally consistent. Now, the police, in the course of taking down a report, may not get everything right, but the stories that you both told me today were consistent with regard to what happened with your niece, that she told her not to smoke, whatever words were exchanged. And I'm not sure that I'm getting the whole story about the words that were exchanged, because it seemed to me absolutely ludicrous for the plaintiff.
What she said is an absolute lie, Your Honor. All I have to back me up is the truth. Yeah. And when he swore me in, I swore to do that. I would never was the word gringa used, anything like that. Nothing like that was ever said. I don't know where she got this from.
Just a minute. But according to you, the word was said.
Oh, it was.
Just a minute. According to you, the word bitch was said by your niece.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah, I believe that. What I'm telling you, Ms. Saez, is that what the police took down quickly in their notes did not reflect what happened on that day, which was basically she told her not to smoke. They get into some words. You're overhearing words that they're getting into, and you decided to have a confrontation with her, which you did. You not only decided to have a confrontation with her at that moment that you heard it, but you got rid of your mother or your aunt or whoever else it was, and you went back to find her. Again, you went back to confront her. Because according to you, Ms. Saez, you were boiling at what you heard her say. And then you went to find her. That's what you said. You said, I went to find her.
Because she was making such horrible racist remarks. And unless someone is there to receive those names, if you're not there at the other end, will never know how you feel. You feel humiliated, degraded. She made me feel like an alien.
Oh,
and I don't mean like an alien from across the border. I'm talking about from Mars or something. Never did that.
You are a grown-up, madam. Grown-ups know that words...
I understand that.
Words are different from acting physically.
When someone is being a racist,
yes,
it is going to cause problems. No one likes to be labeled with names.
So what kind of problems is it going to cause? What kind of... Hey, Ms. Saez, you see what you're doing?
Exactly. This is what she was doing.
No. This is what you're doing.
And this is why I got angry. And unless you're on that receiving end...
You got angry and you hit her. It's going to cost you $2,500.
Receive that.
Period. End of discussion. Sticks and stones break my bones. Names will never hurt me. You report it to the manager. You never go back to the restaurant, but you don't go over there and assault her. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
None of that ever happened. Absolutely none of it happened.
Margaret, you know, proved my case just by her actions.
Knock the out of the person, if you can.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Dagrapont versus Sierra. Step forward, please.
67-year-old Paul Dagrapont is suing 28-year-old car salesperson Vanessa Sierra for the cost of a new puppy. Paul says when his granddaughter's Maltese was in Vanessa's care, the dog ran away and was hit by a car.
Your granddaughter, I assume this is your granddaughter, had a little Maltese dog, and she wanted to breed and have a litter of puppies from her dog. You got the defendant's name. The defendant had a male Maltese. You brought your granddaughter's dog to the defendant's home for the purposes of having this liaison.
Correct.
And left her there,
Yes.
which was standard procedure, I assume. Is that right?
I've never bred a dog before, so I don't know what standard procedure is.
I haven't either.
Well, hopefully the dogs know better than you do what's going on. In any event, having done that sort of thing a couple of times myself, that's what usually happens. You bring the dog and they try to get acquainted so that there is a little, for want of a better, there's a little foreplay. You know, they sort of get to know each other and like each other and stuff. But while the dog was in your care, the dog ran away. You want to be compensated for the dog because you believe it was the defendant's responsibility. Why do you think this was not your responsibility?
It's not that it's not my responsibility. I'm really sorry for what happened.
Of course you are.
It was just a strange situation. No agreement was ever, like, handwritten agreement was ever made. I mean, if I was a mean person or a bad person, I could have just simply denied having the dog. There was no proof or evidence that the dog was ever at my house.
I don't understand that. If you were a bad or a mean person. He brought the dog to your house. Your agreement was that you were going to be paid for the breeding?
Correct.
Okay. How much were you supposed to be paid?
We never agreed upon a price.
We're going to discuss the fee later. Is that all correct, Mr. Davenport?
Yes.
So I still don't understand why you don't think you're responsible. The dogs were playing in the backyard and his dog got away.
Right. The dog was brought to me on the day before New Year's Eve. I called him that evening to let him know that the dogs hadn't, as you called it, gotten acquainted or had their liaison, so to speak. They weren't actually getting along. My dog was chasing his dog around the house, and she didn't seem at all interested. He told me to go ahead and keep the dog overnight, which I did. I did inform him that I do work. I work the next day 9 to 9, and I would not be home. He asked me if anybody would be home. I told him my brothers and my father would.
Okay. So he did ask who would be around.
My brother put both dogs in the yard, and I do have pictures of my dog and the yard, which is completely enclosed. My brother went back to check on the dogs. He let them do their business because he didn't, this is very important, he didn't give me a leash. When he dropped off the dog, he didn't even come in the house. He just handed me the dog. I couldn't put the dog in the front yard to, you know, spent the entire New Year's Eve.
Did you find out how the dog got away?
No, that's the thing. I have pictures. My dog was still in the yard. My dog didn't get out. We don't know how the dog got out.
Maybe somebody stole her. Yeah. Somehow the dog got away.
Right. And I'm not disputing that fact.
So you have to pay for the dog.
Well, I mean, the dog should have been picked up earlier in the day. I wasn't home. I mean, I'm really sorry for what happened, and then...
Miss Sierra, the dog was entrusted to your care in a business relationship. You were going to be paid for the purposes of breeding the dog. If the dog was left in your care, was not returned, you have to pay for the dog. Simple. Did you replace the puppy for your granddaughter?
Yes, we did.
You did. And do you have the bill for the replacement puppy?
We have pictures of the puppy. This is the new puppy, and these are the pictures of the old ones.
Oh, this time you got her a little Yorkie. How's the new puppy?
Playful.
Looks adorable. Step up near your granddaddy. A girl or a boy?
A girl.
What did you name her?
Minnie.
How old is she now?
I think 10 or 11 weeks.
You taking good care of her?
Yeah.
Good. How much did you pay for Minnie?
$700.
You have the bill?
I don't have the bill on the new dog. I have a canceled check on the old one, and this is the posters that we put up looking for when Rice was missing. And we have bills from the veterinarian that they require baby shots, so to speak.
Okay, let me see the bill for the Maltese, please, and the vet shots.
We put 150 of these posters out in the neighborhood looking for her. When we finally found her, you know, she was dead.
She had been hit by a car?
By a car.
I assume that somehow she got out because if somebody had stolen her.
I don't, like I said, I have pictures of the yard completely enclosed.
Well, maybe your brother accidentally opened up the front door. I don't know. Dorothy, cost of the dog was $625, and all the vet bills with the cost of the dog come to $1,011. Judgment for the plaintiff. I'm glad you got a new puppy.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Yeah, this is case number 511 on the calendar in the matter of Thomas versus Kelly. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Ms. Thomas, your lawsuit contains Two parts. First, the defendant, who was your ex-boyfriend, you claim assaulted you in July of last year. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you want several $1,000s as a result of that assault. Then you claim that a month later you let him borrow your car and he totaled it and it's impounded or something, and you can't get a driver's license until you pay the impound fees and towing fees.
Today we are going to discuss Marx's dialectical method. So what's dialectics? In Marx's world, it's a way of understanding how things change through conflict and contradiction. Imagine two ideas or forces clashing, like rich versus poor or old ways versus new ways. This clash creates something new, which then faces its own challenges, and the cycle repeats. This is called thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Now, Marx took this idea and made it all about real life, not just ideas. He said our material conditions like jobs, money, and who owns what shape society. For Marx, history moves forward because of class struggle, basically the fight between those who have power and those who don't. And let's break it down. First, thesis: the current system, like capitalism. Second, antithesis: the opposing force, like workers demanding change. And the third one is synthesis: the result of their clash, a new system, maybe socialism. Marx believed this process is always happening, driving history forward. It's not just about ideas, it is about real people, real struggle, and real change. So, next time you hear dialectics, just think conflict leads to change, and that's how society evolves. If you enjoyed this quick breakdown, hit like and subscribe for more easy explanations. Thank you. And let me know what topic should I cover next. Let me know in the comments. Thanks.